capes and conundrums. Ha ha, El Rhino laughs at your childish courses, ha ha. El Reno proclaims after the first level has been modified just enough so they don't just walk through things. But since level 1 is very basic, El Reno leads the charge, literally, and goes through the course at a dead sprint before rushing through the test and then pausing at the crime scene to examine it. Pavel and Robin hold a conversation with Pavel walking backwards through the course as he goes through it, and neither man so much as blinking at the oddity. Both men, however, pause when they find a slip of paper, more a pamphlet than anything, about no less than 6 unusual other criminals. Criminals that neither man recognizes. Such a challenge is no match for the mighty mind of El Reno, for he charges forward to the truth without fail, El Reno declares as he inputs the murder suspect and clearly gets a win. Ha ha, victory once more. Now El Reno shall await the slower and less graceful people that follow him. Less graceful than a rhino. Is he calling us rocks? Robin asks, and Pavel chuckles as he puts to memory the odd supervillain profiles. Both men are somewhat puzzled by the crime scene. It's a mess. It's a mess that resulted from someone planting a bomb. None of the scenarios they were told about involved a bomb. The upper body and head of the central victim is completely destroyed, and there's a lot of fake blood. All told, there are 6 victims, but the one in the middle of the others is almost completely shredded from the stomach up. The rest have damage that suggests it all started from the middle. All right, minimal scorching. Not a thermal bomb, so it's the blast wave and shrapnel that did it, Robin says, crouching down and looming over the crime scene to study things. Shredded material, possibly felt, circuitry in the shrapnel. Part of the bomb, Pavel asks as he steps around the crime scene and examines things. I think this is the money clue, portion of a card, something over 6. Robin notes, pointing to the clue in question without touching it. So the Mad Hatter put a bomb hat on someone's head and controlled them to send them in public. A distraction for a kidnapping, maybe, Pavel asks. Maybe his signature is his obsession with Alice and the Wonderland paraphernalia. It could have been money. It could be the opening of a hostage situation. It could be any number of things. We have a smoking gun, though. A bomb under a mind control hat. One made of dark brown felt. Robin says, rising up and stepping away from the crime scene to go to the computer and put in his answer. He's correct, and as Pavel puzzled it out with him, they both quickly leave the room before El Reno strains something trying to wait for them. It was actually kind of clever for them to fake us out with that pamphlet. Still, I wonder who Double Z, the Voodoo Master, or Shiwan Khan are, or what series they're from. Pavel asks Robin, who shrugs even as they leave the testing room. Ha ha, El Reno exclaims before embracing them both. You have done wonderfully, and perhaps someday you will have minds almost half as mighty as that of El Reno. Onwards. Onwards to glory in the second challenge for El Reno and his adorable assistants. Can you dial it back to 11, please? Robin asks, and gets a massive clap on the back from the luchador. Ha ha ha, but this is only El Reno on the 3. But if you wish to see 11... No, 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 Pavel protests as El Reno pulls out a communicator and a few taps later has loud mariachi music playing. Now all shall see the glory and power of El Reno, and he starts off in a voice that makes him sound like he's got a boom mic in his face, and Robin's hand clamps around his mouth. Don't make me ruin that mask with duct tape, he threatens, and beneath the mask El Reno's eyebrow rises up. Second test is ready now. It took a bit to shift things around, Overwatch announces. Ha ha, El Reno shall lead the charge then. Forward, my brothers in arms, forwards, El Reno announces in a slightly less bombastic tone than the first test, and all 3 men enter the second chamber. The chunk of apartment block has been shifted. The window the girls used earlier is repaired and pristine, and on the opposite side is the busted window and police tape. There, do you see? The innocent people of this world require our mighty minds to assist them. El Reno charges. Then the huge man full-on sprints to the building with a stomping gait that both other men can feel through their boots. "I'll go in high. Want to go mid?" Pavel asks after a moment, which was all the time El Reno needed to reach the building and enter. Pah! No delicate scene is too frail for the dancing feet of El Reno, the great horned beast whose grace is second to none, El Reno declares as he enters and starts delicately picking his way through the area, flexing as he balances his way through the room. There was a scuffle, a bad one. There were also something strange. It was evidence he should not touch, but it looked like a broken rabbit ear. El Reno leans over it and taps his chin. El Reno is most interested. Has a theme been established? Ha ha, he shall see, we shall all see. Found a clue already? Robin asks, entering the scene and instantly scanning the room. Family picture is different. Looks like a single father with a blue-eyed and blonde daughter. Think it relates to our first case. El Reno does, but there is more seeking to do if we are to find the clues. El Reno answers. What's going on? Pavel asks, before he spots the picture frame. Oh, I don't think they should test the idea of related cases with us. We know the answers. I want a challenge. Oh yes, like this is a challenge. This is still easy stealth operation training. Remember those fun 2 months? Robin counters. I do. I very much do. Pavel replies, slipping in past him, and with nearly a dancer's grace, he picks his way through the apartment. El Reno and Robin behind him as he looks into each room. There has been evidence of a scuffle that suddenly seemed to stop. Plenty of devastation near the edge of the apartment by the sitting room. But whatever happened here, the criminals clearly got what they were looking for and left. It's looking more and more like a successful kidnapping. El Reno has seen enough. Now he charges forward to find the fiends responsible to strike them down with his sacred ivory, El Reno announces as he starts picking his way out. Somehow, I doubt he's actually going to use that horn in a fight. I'm pretty sure having something you can stab with on the mask is against lucha rules or whatever. Pavel notes as he follows the big guy out at 5 or so paces behind. It probably can't be used that way, but with Axiom, he probably could. Robin says, "Shit. Right. Goddamn space magic making things even more ridiculous," Pavel complains. Coming from the man who's professionally done cosplay in the military on a planet with giant lava snakes for the benefit of literal Batwoman nerds, Robin asks with a clear laugh just under his tone. Shh. Let me have my delusions of a normal posting. It's a sweet comfort on days where the weather throws around apocalyptic grade monsters like rag dolls. Pavel counters as they leave the apartment and head up. They were at the 5-minute mark of their 15-time limit and weren't at all stressed. That storm was pretty cool, though, Robin remarks as they head for the stairs up. Already they can hear the mariachi music as El Reno has no doubt already dispatched his opponents and was doing a goofy celebration. Oh, definitely. If it was more predictable, then it might end up as another major tourist pull, like the Northern Lights or surfing season to the south. Pavel remarks as they open the rooftop door and leave. 2 dummies each, all of them in hats with a card stuck in them or some kind of rabbit mask. Robin kicks his first dummy into the second so hard they both count, and Pavel rushes too, grabs them by the face and slams them both into the ground. All 3 men then input the Mad Hatter into the computer and it comes out clean. Test 2 is complete. Then Overwatch tells them that there's been a slight complication with reorienting the underground maze and they cool their jets for a minute. Just a minute though, and nowhere near enough time for 3 men who have been on different types of guard duty to grow bored. You need an hour or 3 for that. Of course, by the end of those 3 theoretical hours, something is going to happen. Highly skilled, highly energetic, and very enthusiastic people tend to leave a trail a mile wide when they're trying to distract themselves, which actually explains a great deal about all the sheer madness the Undaunted have been up to. They get rung into the third test, and all three of them exchange a nod before rushing to the entranceway in silence. Ha ha! El Reno charges ahead, mostly in silence. 2 out of 3 isn't bad, right? Anyways, as all three men split into different directions, the sound-baffling and light-bending properties of the maze take hold, and both Robin and Pavel are cut off from El Reno's exuberance. Robin goes down 3 levels, traces a series of pipes, and finds a scrap of blue cloth at the edge of an opened pipe. He glances inside, but finds no further clues. Pavel, on the other hand, takes 3 turns, goes down a ladder, and takes 3 more turns to run into a dead end where spatter of blood and a long blonde hair indicates there may have been a fight. Ha ha! So, the Hatter, most mad, dragged his hostage through this place. How terrible! How vile! I will impale him upon my sacred ivory and lay low the foolish fiend so that none need fear him, El Reno announces as he had charged forwards, took a turn, doubled back at a dead end, and then shortly afterwards found a small card, in this style, written upon it. He then takes off the mask, and Santiago looks up into the direction he knows a camera is. Really? All 3 of the first crimes are the Mad Hatter? Sure, it was cute to have the distraction pamphlet on the first test. But come on, variety please. The mask goes back on, and El Reno begins charging once more in search for more clues. He crosses paths with Robin, who says nothing but holds up his hands, and they high-five each other as they rush in opposite directions. Pavel stumbles on the last of 4 clues first as Robin groans at the sight of the card. It's a young girl's blue hairband. Alice was taken this way. Also, El Reno outright dives down the levels and charges straight up the walls rather than using any ladder. Pavel jumps down and climbs up. Robin slides down and jumps up instead. It's El Reno who finishes finding all the clues first, mostly because he never goes slower than a jog despite keeping up a steady search pattern, and he finds his way to the central room. What? Has El Reno's mighty mind failed him? Scout doesn't even bother suppressing the laugh. Then she puts on a massively oversized top hat with a card in it. No, but I wanted in on this and you showed up before I was fully ready. So once again, the great beast El Reno has been underestimated. Not only has he a mighty mind and mightier muscles, but his speed is beyond compare. El Reno is victorious, the outcome most clear and expected to any being of sense and sound mind. El Reno exclaims with a pose that has his right arm pointed straight up with his index and middle finger extended together, and his left arm is across his chest and outright pointing to his right arm with its 2 fingers. He then brings down his arms, and as his left goes to his side, his right one goes to rest against the horn on his mask and match the horn's height with his fingers. Ha 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 ha. Oh boy, he's saluting. What did I walk into? Pavel asks as he emerges from the darkness. Oh hey Scout, nice hat. Thank you, Scout replies. So, you two are here to show off, while I show off just how hard it is to actually hurt a slob by hitting it. Fear not, sweet Jello woman. El Reno is neither cad nor craven. Your vulnerable core will not in any way be harmed by his mighty muscles, as his magnificent mind shall guide the blows away from so fragile and delicate an organ. I know that there's not any music playing, but I can outright hear the music, Scout says as Robin emerges. Music? What? Oh, never mind, Robin notes. Still, just one opponent? Do we take turns then? I can't help but notice I'm the last one to arrive. Alas, you shall have to wait your turn, for this gelatinous girl shall first be faced by the ferocious fists and mighty muscles of El Reno. He starts with grappling, and Scout learns that while she can survive a decapitation, the fact that El Reno can literally rip apart her gel body with ease means that letting him grab her is a bad idea. If not for the fact that El Reno, Pavel, and Robin all stayed well away from her core when they were tested, then Scout would have had a very, very bad time. Instead, she was cracking jokes about men being so very eager to get their hands on her, how they couldn't wait to smash her, and, "Oh, 3 men on little old me, whatever shall I do?" Scout remarks as she examines the oversized hat and brushes it off a bit. All 3 of them had confirmed things in the Bat computer. They weren't just on some random cases. They were on a storyline, which means that 4th test was getting customized to be in theme. "Well, perhaps you could have them explode on you rather than explode on them?" Pavel asks, and Scout cackles. "Oh, maybe. But don't think your boyish charm will work on me, human. I'm a slob. A whole different game." "I'm aware. So will you be there for the next test?" "Now that would be telling," Scout replies. "In other words, yes, but I'm not allowed to outright say it," Robin remarks. "See you there. Happy hunting, but you're not going to get much." "I don't know. I might get a rhino," Scout replies, and the affronted luchador straightens up and points to the ceiling. "Ha ha 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 ha. El Reno is uncatchable. He knows no defeat.